Who do you think has the best defensive line in the league? Give me the top couple defensive lines in the league. We can work through it together.
Well, I think Denver's is good, Chris.
I really like
I think Denver's like Zach Allen, got no attention last year. That guy was awesome.
He was
as good as any defensive tackle, but John Franklin Myers and DJ Jones and Cooper and Benito. I mean, that's up there right now.
Yep.
I still think, even though the Eagles lost Josh Sweat, and they lost Milton Williams, I still think they're going to be really good. I think this Ty Robinson from Nebraska is
him. I think
he's going to be a really good rotational player for him. Nolan Smith came on, and he's a problem. I think his speed is an issue. And then, he's getting better, and playing next to Jalen's going to help. They picked up Josh Uche and Azeez Ojulari. Both of them they've had times, and they both have had injuries for sure. They also have had, some days where they were pretty good players out there. And maybe within the rotation, I think the Eagles can still be, pretty good right now.
Yeah, no question. I think the Eagles got a lot to replace, but when you have Jalen Carter inside, you're in good shape. And maybe it's like a Jomo who takes that step next year and becomes the next guy to get the bag or something like that. And the Eagles have proven, not with 100% hit rate. They had their Bryce Huff signing last year, which didn't work out famously. They also brought my buddy Robert Quinn in at one point. That didn't really work out late in his career. But for the most part, they're hitting on things. They're hitting on things up front. Howie's hot right now, so you ride the hot hand. And you hope that Ojulari and you mentioned Uche, like these guys step up and play big roles.
Well, I mean, nobody's drafted better than the Rams, Chris. They've just, whether it's Kobe Turner right now, or Byron Young, or Jared Verse, or Fisk. I mean, these guys are. Brendan Fisk. Maybe you can tell the people listening to your podcast, Chris, how hard it is for a rookie defensive tackle to get 8.5 sacks. I mean, that's Aaron Donald like. Aaron probably had 8 sacks his rookie year. It's usually the second year where they make the jump.
Yeah, he was incredibly productive, and I think got overshadowed by Verse, who ironically got a lot of attention and should have, because he was a bowling ball, but didn't have the sacks that maybe you're going to see later in his career as he develops a little bit more. Like, I think he'll be a double-digit guy at some point here, maybe next year. But Fisk was really the guy who was knocking on the door at double digits last year, and nobody noticed.
Yeah,
the kids. I mean, they're just. It's Giff Smith is their D-line coach.
Yeah.
And I think he did a great job with that group. I mean, when you see a bunch of young guys playing like that, you got a good coach. I also would throw in the equation, the Giants defensive line. I think Thibodeau has gotten a bad rap a little bit. Like, he's been productive. I mean, like, what else do you want out of a guy? He's got 10 sacks already. He's hit double digits. He's put together a couple productive seasons. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and then you add Abdul Carter, who is definitely going to make somebody move up and down the line a little bit to make room for him, if you're believing what you're hearing out in New York, which is that he's hell on wheels.
I want to see how they make that work, but they certainly have the names, and they have guys that have the ability. They've been drafted high. All those guys were drafted very high. It's interesting, Dexter Lawrence, because what do 360-pound defensive tackles have to offer? Can they stay on the field long enough? I remember talking to Dexter about it. And I remember Wink Martindale was a defense coordinator, and Wink told me, he goes, man, if this Dexter Lawrence isn't in the Pro Bowl, it's my fault.
Yeah.
And, there's not a lot of those guys out there. Vita Vea, there's a couple, Jordan Davis, there's a couple guys like this. But what the thing that was interesting for Dexter was, like, he just wasn't productive in the pass rush. And it wasn't that he wasn't a great athlete or he wasn't in shape. It was a mental thing, staying on the field long enough to be able to get to third down and rush the passer. And I feel like I've told this to Jordan Davis's agent. Like, I don't ever make anything personal with any players, but Jordan doesn't play enough plays to stay on the field to affect in the passing game. And so can he be a high first-round pick if you don't do that? Mm-hmm. And so I do think a lot of this for big guys is very, very mental. For Vita Vea to play in that heat down there in Tampa, to play as many snaps as he plays, yes. Are you tired? Hell yeah, you're tired. Are you gassed? Yeah. But some guys have figured out how to play through it. And And it's not about running wind sprints and all this other stuff. There's a mental component to staying on the field and being productive. And I think some of these guys have to fight through that.
Yeah, no, Lawrence is unique. Like when you talk to former center, I mean, Jason Kelsey's the one who always talks about how it's hell to get when you got a guy like that covering you up. I mean, it's just a nightmare. So if you can get that guy good enough to where he can play every down, like there's no escape. The boogeyman's out there every play. How do you think you feel with Vita Vea? You know, watching tape of him all week as a center, like you just pray he's going to get tired. That's it.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get tired, you're fucked. Okay, the other team we got to mention. 1, 2, 3, Houston Texans.
No question. I mean, what Will Anderson is doing in this business, I mean, he's off to a great start. This is effort. Way he smokes the corner right now.
Yeah.
And then to have, Danielle Hunter has been one of the great pass rushers in this business for a long time. There's just not many guys with that kind of length, with the variety of moves that he has, and kind of how awkward he is at times, and how you have to, like, really be patient on a guy like that. And then inside, whether it's, Settle comes on board right now. Sheldon Rankins has had good days. Mario Edwards. I mean, they've got a number of guys. Danico Autry has been a great pass rusher in this league for a decade, wherever he goes. And so
I love Autry.
Autry is a long arm guy, inside, outside. He crushes the pocket wherever, and he's so versatile. So, I mean, that's a guy that, when you look at the Houston Texans, and one of the reasons why D'Amico Ryans has been really good is that defensive line.